everybody. Thank you so much for coming to this part of Women's History Month. Today we have Helen Maidment. She's a nephrologist from Austin, Texas. And so, without further ado,
Thanks. Should we hand out the handouts?
we'll do that afterwards.
Okay. Okay, my talk, when Angela so kindly asked me to come and talk to you, I decided to call it Life's a Roller Coaster, Enjoy the Ride. And I want to thank you for asking me to speak for you today. And I hope in some way that I can help you live your dream. As a teenage daughter used to tell my husband and I that we were born a very long time ago in a very faraway country. She was right. The year was 1951, and the country, as you can tell from my accent, was New Zealand. Life in New Zealand, when I grew up, was very different than America. I never thought that in a million years I would stand here living the way I do in Texas and talking to you. As I grew up, we made our own soap, we knitted sweaters, we chopped firewood, not fun, we lived organic, and we didn't even know it. Girls were raised to be nurses or teachers and then mothers. I never knew anybody that worked except for our school teacher. That was the plan. Then the plan changed. I fell in love and found myself in Illinois at age 21 with literally $60. My husband of 4 days was a Fulbright scholar at the University of Illinois in Champaign-Urbana. How many of you have been to Champaign-Urbana? I don't know if you know, it's way in the middle of Illinois. It was February, it was very cold, and it had been summer when we left New Zealand. Suddenly, I was in a country of 200 million people, and I didn't know anybody. There wasn't one person that I could call on the telephone. I'd left my safe, familiar life a long, long way ago. Life had forever changed. It was soon after my arrival that we went to the Illinois State Fair. There, don't ask me how I did this, I accidentally got onto a roller coaster. My husband and I thought we were getting onto a small train. We sat down. Suddenly, we shot off. We screamed, we yelled. We thought we were dying. We shot up, we shot down. We went round corners, we groaned slowly to the top. Then we went at a speed I never knew I could survive. Wow, this was life in America, full of excitement and surprises. I enrolled in the University of Illinois. I learned all about the fun you could have on a campus, just like you guys have here. We became house parents to 30 girls at a Christian Cooperative Baptist house. I felt like I was living in a movie. From New Zealand, America looked so glamorous. Hollywood was there. People drove big cars, like station wagons. I thought everybody looked like Mary Tyler Moore, or the Brady Bunch mom. I thought you guys had a special gene in your hair that actually made it flip up on the end. I did. I thought I would stick out like a sore thumb. But America embraced us. America made things happen we had not even dared dream of. America has been so good to us. It's a great country. It is a country to which people come to from all over the world. For graduate education, for medical care, it's the best in the world. It is where, for example, and we just came back from Jordan, the former king of Jordan came for his cancer treatment. And it is where, years later, I would become a kidney doctor, trained at Stanford University in California after going to medical school in San Antonio when, wait for it, I was 34 years old. Just like the roller coaster, life takes you up and around corners to places you never dreamed of. And like the ride, it's all over so quickly. When I was 3, I was struck with polio in the last world epidemic of 1954. It paralyzed my arms and legs for months. I believe it was a miracle that I recovered. Some of my earliest memories are of my father praying on his knees by my bedside. After that, somewhere deep down, I wanted something I knew I could never have, to be a doctor and to help heal people. In January of 1983, my husband had a dream when he was asleep. It was a dream that would change our lives forever. He dreamed that I had asked for a divorce because I couldn't be who I wanted to be. We'd never actually had that conversation, but he was right. I did so want to become a doctor. He lay awake for an hour. He realized once Pandora's box was opened, it could never be shut again. He knows me well. We had 2 little girls, aged 3 and 5. We had no money. We lived in Austin, 100 miles away from the nearest medical school in San Antonio. I wasn't even a legal alien at the time. I didn't have a pre-med degree. When I woke up, he asked me about his dream and asked me if I still wanted to be a doctor. My answer was yes, yes, and yes. There was no confusion. I went straight to the University of Texas Health Advisory Department, and I found out that the next medical school admission test was in April, only 10 weeks away. I was already working full-time and going to school full-time. It had been 13 years, though, since I had studied chemistry and physics. I studied as I had never studied before. I want to share with you today what Dr. Legowski told me in the advisory office that day. A dream is safe if you keep it as a dream. If you try and turn it into reality, you have a chance of failure. And I experienced failure. I did well on the medical college admission test. I aced the interview. I got into medical school, then hopelessly failed the first year despite studying until I couldn't study any longer. I was 3 years behind the other students. I screamed a little, actually a lot, cried a little, but I got off and dusted myself off. I never doubted I could do it. And there was never a prouder MD graduate on May 1989 when I passed across that stage. This was my destiny. I was born to do this. I love being a nephrologist. I teach training physicians at Brackenridge Hospital through the Southwestern University, and I teach the indigent patients, and I also have a private practice. I have the best of all worlds. But when I first came back to Austin, I was with 105 other specialists, of whom only 4 were women. How Texas has changed in 20 years, when now over half the medical school students are women. I also love being a wife, a mother, and a grandmother, but life's tough. It doesn't always work out the way you think it's going to. Some of these turns bring us to places we would never expect to be. In July 2004, on my birthday, I found I had stage 3B breast cancer. Even with bilateral mastectomies, chemotherapy, and radiation, the chances of survival were 15%. Again, I screamed, big screams, and I cried, and I dusted myself off. Was it chance that I got cancer? No. I believe that it was part of my destiny. Life is more precious now. My family's closer. I have no doubt our days on earth are numbered, and we need to make them count and enjoy them. So today I came to tell you, go for your dream. This is the country where dreams come true. Take the opportunities when they come, even though they're out of your comfort zone. Expect failure and pain. It's part of the journey. Find the balance in your life. It's a marathon, not a short distance run. And most of all, enjoy the journey. It is a gift that God has given to us. And that's my story. So I don't know if you have any questions or thoughts, what your dreams are. What do you guys want to do? in your wildest dreams.
Well, I can say that I want to work at Yellowstone National Park.
And that is a cool dream. Who's been to Yellowstone National Park? It's beautiful. What do you have to do to work there?
I'm sorry?
What do you have to do to make that dream come true?
Well, I'm trying to get an internship with Texas Parks now. I'm hoping to work with Texas Parks, and then somehow, if they have an opening when I get really experienced.
So what you have to say is, I'm going to work at Yellowstone National Park. Who else has a dream? Yeah.
I want to work on a college campus with incoming students.
What college campus would you like to work at?
I'm not necessarily sure right now, but I will be working next year at Texas State.
Good. I mean, that is a great dream. And you really know at your age to know what you want to do. I took till I was 34 to even have the faintest idea. So who else has got a dream? No dreams? Yeah?
I'm going to work for a nonprofit charity.
Great.
Raise money for.
Whereabouts?
I have an internship tomorrow to help with one in Savannah.
Well done. That's very, very important in the world today. They raise a lot of money for a lot of very good causes. And it's tough work, but it's very meaningful work. Anybody else have a dream? Do you have a dream?
I want to be an international architect.
An international architect, that is a big dream and a great dream. Go for it. Where do you want to be and where do you want to be?
Well, it's kind of difficult, but everyone tells me it's going to be difficult, but this is what I'm holding on to. Hopefully I'll get there.
Of course it's going to be difficult. Anything that's worthwhile is going to be difficult. And so which country would you choose? Just go over there and enjoy it, huh?
Yeah.
When I was 25, my husband dropped me in Vienna and said, learn the language and get a job. I'll be back in a while, and went off to Eastern Europe. So I looked down and I saw some little ladies that were drinking tea, and I went down there and motioned to them that I would buy their tea and their cookies, and of course they loved tea and cookies, being Austrian ladies, if they would teach me German. So I learned German, and I was the English Schule in Vienna. I was the biology Lehrerin. So, and I had to order potassium permanganate in German, and it actually arrived. I was told, Sie sind schwanger, and I says, was ist schwanger? Schwanger is mit Kind, which was, I found out later, with child. And sure enough, she's 32 now. So, I mean, going abroad, I think, is a wonderful way of learning about life, especially when you're young, because it becomes part of who you are. I think what Americans do is they tend to go abroad when they're old, and it's much better to go when you're young because it becomes part of your life. Has anybody else got a dream? I mean, that's a pretty big dream. He's kind of out-dreamed us, hasn't he? Yeah.
I'd like to transfer from the United States to the Royal Marines in Britain.
Wow, that's a big one. Where is the Royal Marines in England?
They're based out of Scotland. I want to join the Scotland Brigade and be a pilot for them.
Wow. Who does the Edinburgh tattoo? Who are those people that flip those swords around? Is that them?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is pretty amazing and pretty scary to watch. And what's your dream?
I want to start my own private practice in psychology. But I want to have an emphasis on a faith-based therapy.
Mm-hmm.
So with families, married couples, and children.
What a wonderful dream, because that's really, really needed with all the broken families and broken hearts. I think as a doctor, I'm very holistic coming from New Zealand, and I think one of the things I see so much is the pain inside actually manifests itself as physical problems. And I think we don't really ask patients what's going on inside. I had a patient not so long ago, and she came in and her blood pressure was horribly high. She'd been through, had kidney arteries looked at and all these workups, and I said, I think there's something that you're telling me that's there, but you're not telling me. Nope, she said, I'm absolutely fine. I'm trusting Jesus. I said, tell me more about the trusting Jesus thing. Well, it turned out she was a church secretary to a Baptist, big Baptist church in Austin, and she just retired. And I said, does anything happen significantly in your life? No, not really. I said, how many children do you have? 2, 3. I said, well, 2, 3? What's the 2, 3 thing? Oh, I had a boy and he drowned, but he's with Jesus now. And I said, how old was he when he drowned? He was 8, and we were at Lake Travis. Then she started to bawl, and she cried, and she cried, and she cried. I thought, oh my goodness, I talk about Pandora's box. I just don't know how to patch this one up. And so I thought, well, I'll just let her cry. And then he'd been saying, Mama, Mama, Mama. And then she came and here he was drowned. And she'd never grieved. She just never grieved. And I think grieving is a job that you need to do. And if you don't grieve, it just catches you later. I mean, it's going to bite you in the butt sooner or later. And of course, she'd retired, and suddenly it hit her, just like a flood, like a tsunami. You know, this child's death. And I sent her to a grief counselor, and suddenly she had normal blood pressure. And she'd been all through this crazy medical regime and medications and so on. And now they're doing all these gastric bypasses, but they need to ask these people, why do you hurt inside so much that you have to feed your face? You know, some have been in foster children, they've been sexually abused as children. I think counselors are just so desperately, and nobody's sort of paid to counsel these people. We just throw medicines at them. But who else has a dream? What's your dream?
To find a dream.
Her dream's to find a dream.
Seriously. I find something that I really love, but I haven't found it yet.
You know what? I think our life is like a patchwork quilt. I mean, my first thing was to do education and a master's degree in education. I was a learning specialist and I was a teacher and I taught people how to teach and went on and on and on. And now I'm teaching people how to become doctors. We have about 400 training doctors in Austin. And I teach doctors all over Austin about kidney stuff, the family practice doctors and the internists. And when I look back, I'm like, oh, that was the plan. And I remember we got thrown out of houses 3 times in a row. I was an illegal alien and the guy threw us out of the house and I was so mad at God. I mean, you have never heard anybody so mad at God. I was driving around in a Volkswagen with no air conditioning. It's 105 degrees saying, why again? Why again? This is the 3rd summer we've had to look for a house. And I so badly wanted to buy the house we were in. I later found out that it was in a horrible school district. We got the most adorable house a year later. We stayed there for 21 years. We had 13 families around us, and that we became very bonded to and are still very close to, and really, really helped me when I went to medical school where the cat got hit by a car or whatever happens in life. And I'm sure God's like, just quiet down, quiet down, quiet down. It's all going to be okay. It's going, ooh, Helen, no, 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 no. But I think sometimes we have our plan, and I often say to patients, because they so desperately want their loved ones to get better, it's His will, not our will. And I think we often get that mixed up, And my father, I mean, when he looked at a paralyzed 3-year-old, it was devastating, just devastating, because, and he felt very strongly that he needed to keep me at home in the warmth, and they fed me a mixture of applesauce and spinach, and tremendous amounts of it, and that apparently was folate and B12, and he said God gave him the message to do that. And look at all my arms. I play tennis now all the time, and every single one of my arms and legs, nerves, is brand new. There's not one single one that isn't, was the original one. So, but I think sometimes it's just not the way we want it to be, and boy, do we get mad. Maybe you don't, but I do. Any other dreams? These are great dreams. Yeah.
I want to be a teacher.
What kind of teacher?
That's the big question. I don't know. I like English a lot, so that's my major, but I really love sign language. I would love to teach in sign language.
Wow.
And so I really want to pursue that after I get my bachelor's in English.
Wow. That is a great dream. We have actually, because the kidneys and the ears develop at the same time embryologically, a lot of people have kidney problems, have deafness as well. There's quite a few, like Alport's is one of the diseases. And I never knew, but there's all different kinds of dialects of sign language. And I mean, it's just very interesting watching them. And a lot of the children, they'll just sort of sit there and suddenly I'll tell them, do you like elephants? And they're making the sign, I don't know what the sign is for elephants, something like this. And suddenly they kind of wake up and they're they suddenly get connected into your world. But I think it must be so, so hard to be deaf because, and I actually took care of the minister of the deaf school, of the deaf church in Austin for a long time, many years ago. And he said it's very hard for a hearing person to be married to a deaf person because there's a whole lot of trust that often gets eroded. And they don't, you know, deaf children, I think the ministry to the deaf people is a very special, and you've got to have a very good sense of 3 dimensions. So, way to go. Good job. Anybody else got a great dream? We're getting kind of, my dream just seems kind of an ordinary dream now. What would you like to do?
I'd like to be a psychologist at some sort of psychiatric hospital.
Like around here or?
I don't know. I mean, around here just kind of makes sense. San Antonio State Hospital's right there, so
Mm-hmm.
maybe.
Have you been to the San Antonio State Hospital?
No, but I have to go. And actually for a class next year.
Excellent, excellent. Well, and I think that we need to reach out to a lot of these people that are homeless. So many of them that I take care of have psychiatric diseases, and unfortunately the funding for all that. And all they want is some love and some good medicine. And boy, if you're going to be there, you're going to do a lot of healing. What's your dream?
I want to be a freelance writer and write books.
Wow. What kind of books?
Novels,
Wow.
nonfiction.
Wow. One of my friends started writing on the stairwell at her home. This is when I was back in New Zealand, and her kids to this day, 30 years later, when they're going up the stairs, have been trained to be quiet because that's where Mum's typewriter was. And she got works accepted for the BBC and all kinds of things. And so just go out there and do it. And apparently you just get better and better at it, which is pretty exciting. Anybody else like to share their dream?
I would like to be self-employed and
Yeah, well done.
paint, because I like painting.
And do you know what? My daughter is having a baby on May the 1st, and there's a whole field of art in just nurseries. These people make incredible livings for doing nursery art. I mean, there's all kinds of niches that you don't even think of. So good for you. What kind of things do you like painting?
I don't, a bunch of things. I haven't, landscapes aren't my total great. I'll go for it.
Well, I think you'll find your way. I mean, it's like any path, it's not straight. Life is the corners, and you'll find what works, what doesn't work. And also you'll continue to develop your talent. So who else has a dream?
I would like to move to the big city and work for a news radio station. Something to do with like on camera and stuff like that.
So you'd like to move to a big city, like what?
Like California, New York. I've always, I've done a lot of acting in my past and I really liked it, but
Wow.
I don't know, I just like.
You like big cities and the excitement of Manhattan, and wow, that's pretty cool. I'll kind of look for your name and face in the future. So anybody else? These are great stories. Everybody else has got dreams. I know they're just too scared to kind of say them. Anyway, thanks for having me today, and go for your dream and make it say, I'm going to work in Yellowstone National Park. I'm going to be an international architect. I'm going to go for it. Because I think when you say, I'm going to go for it, that makes it happen. Whether I hope, you have to, it's going to be hard. These dreams are big dreams that you have, great dreams. And there's going to be times when you flip up and fall down and you fail and it doesn't work out and you go broke, or, you know, things happen, you get sick, or your kid gets sick, or, you know, your marriage doesn't work out, or things happen, but just go for it. Because anyway, I just hope that you look back on your life and think, I did what I wanted to do. Anyway, thanks for having me today.